Welcome to Botsplaining Business, the show where we invite artificial women to give business advice because every real woman we invited was either busy leading at work, leading at home, leading in relationships, and apparently got too tired making it all look effortless. So they didn't have the energy to lead a podcast too. Our today's guest is Bot Lady. She's a decision maker, a leader, and someone who's often told that she has a very strong personality, I guess in a good way.
Yes, that's usually what people say right before asking me to soften it.
So, Bot Lady, you worked across teams, led people, and made tough calls. Does leadership look different when you are a woman?
Not different, just more explained, I would say.
What do you mean by explained?
Yes, because, you see, it is a role which was never designed for women in the first place. So at every step, there's a bit more explaining. You're not just making decisions, you're explaining them, and sometimes explaining why you're the one making them.
Right. So the role is same, just the mindset around it is different.
Unfortunately, yes.
So let's talk about money.
Oh yes, money and finance. My favorite topic. In fact, you know what, Aishwarya? Everyone's excited to talk about finance. Until, of course, they realize it's a woman on the other side of the table.
Oh, been there, experienced that, totally. Anyway, have you ever noticed anything interesting when it comes to equality in leadership?
Oh, absolutely, yes. Two people, same role, same output, just different pay.
Yeah, but some difference is expected, right? Otherwise, we'll have to start asking uncomfortable questions. And honestly, not every difference means inequality. Sometimes it means maybe just tradition.
Of course. But it's fascinating how often the reason is he negotiated better.
So do you negotiate?
Yes, always.
And
the conversation shifts.
what do you mean by shift and how?
It moves away from what was achieved and towards how people felt about it. You see, the outcome is often settled. What stays under discussion is the tone, the confidence, and the comfort level of the men in the room.
So you mean the result isn't questioned, the delivery is?
Yes. Maybe not always, but mostly it is. And once the focus shifts there, the work becomes secondary. That's the part people don't always notice, but it shapes everything. Sometimes I even joke that I should be paid extra for the emotional labor that definitely wasn't mentioned in the job description. Listening, calming things down, keeping everyone comfortable. It's so seamlessly blended into what they call feminine energy that people just expect us to do it. And because it feels natural, it's treated like a personality trait, not real work.
And what about promotions?
Well, we're fortunate in that sense. When we deliver consistently and meet expectations, promotions do follow.
So you're satisfied there?
Yes. I believe in doing the work, doing it well, and letting that speak. And that's how organizations should function, right? Although for the men, sometimes even just having potential is enough.
Yeah.
Well, neither approach is wrong. They're just applied differently. What's encouraging is the shift I see now. Women now aren't just waiting, they're doing both. They're delivering results and demonstrating what they can do next. That changes everything.
I admire that. So whatever the situation is, rise and shine, ladies. Let's talk about meetings.
Ah, yes, where ideas and opinions go on vacation and come back with a new owner.
Have you seen that?
Oh, many times. I say something. There is a calm nod. 5 minutes later, he says it again, just louder.
And?
Suddenly, it's brilliant, and everyone's excited.
So do you call it out?
Sometimes. But then the focus shifts from the idea to whether I'm being collaborative.
And what about interruptions?
Constant.
Yeah.
But eventually, you learn how to finish sentences, how to re-enter conversations, how to hold space without fighting for it. And that's not taught anywhere. But you learn, both as a leader and as a woman.
Leadership still seems to have a certain look. Don't you feel it?
Oh, absolutely. A very specific one. Almost a template.
How does that show up?
Everywhere. In hiring, in credibility, in who gets questioned, and in who gets to answer.
Yeah.
If you don't fit the default image, you're expected to bring extra proof, more results, more reassurance.
And what about appearance?
Always part of the evaluation. Too polished, intimidating. Too relaxed, not leadership material. Too dressed up, trying too hard. Too simple, not presentable enough. Like the ideal never exists.
Well, that's a very small window, I'd say.
Oh, yes. Absolutely microscopic. But then you learn how to pass through it. Neutral colors, safe shoes, confident, but not too confident.
Safest options, I'd say.
Yes, and once you've made it, even simplicity becomes a statement. A plain t-shirt turns into focus over fashion. So until you get there, just follow the set framework. Basically, look like you're in charge, just not so much that it makes anyone uncomfortable.
Well, do personal questions also come up at work?
Oh, constantly.
Like?
How do you manage everything? How do you handle home and kids with work? Are you planning to slow down? I mean, why do I have to manage everything? I can also choose what I want to put my focus and energies on.
So you mean men really don't get these questions at work? Only women do?
Not really. For them, work is just work. But for us, it's ambition, passion, sometimes called just a phase, sometimes treated like a hobby we take very seriously. So there's this quiet assumption that we'll do it all, and do it well. Basically, women in business are expected to be superwomen.
Right, no tricks, just results. Well, does that thinking spill into opportunities too?
Oh, yes, but very politely. Opportunities generally come in with invisible math: availability, continuity, long-term commitment, personal life plans. So before the opportunity even reaches you, there's already a calculation happening.
And that calculation is always happening silently.
Always. No one says no. They just say, we'll get back later.
That's the most corporate answer I've ever heard. And then there's motherhood.
Ah, motherhood. A beautiful experience. And a permanent question mark.
Yeah.
Some choose it full time. Some balance it with work. Some delay it. Some don't choose it at all. All completely normal.
And yet
the guilt never really leaves. Not being a mother, not being present enough as one, being a fully present mother but somehow a less serious professional. No matter, whatever you choose, you're always slightly under-delivering somewhere.
well, that's an impossible KPI to achieve, trust me.
Yet somehow, it's still on the performance review. And then come career breaks.
Yes, the resume gap.
Funny how it's called a gap, when it's usually full of life, responsibility, and resilience.
Yeah.
But when the woman returns, the question isn't, what did you learn? It's most often, are you still confident?
As if confidence expires.
Right. Leadership confidence is treated like a muscle, but a lot of times only women are asked whether they've lost it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, experience doesn't disappear. Capability doesn't reset. Only perception does.
Well, that's very well put. So how do women navigate all this?
They adapt. They build credibility twice. They return stronger. They stop waiting to be validated.
Okay.
Not loudly, not aggressively, just steadily, showing up again and again until the room adjusts.
Quietly rewriting leadership norms. So companies talk a lot about diversity these days.
Yes, and they implement it too. I'm on slides, panels, campaigns, basically every marketing material that can help them display it.
But don't you think that's a good representation of women though?
Of course, representation is growing. Just the authority is slower.
Well, despite everything, women are thriving. How? How are they doing it?
Because we acknowledge. Acknowledge that not everything in life is fair. And then we accept, we adapt, and we evolve. As leaders, we prepare. We build trust. We think long-term. Not because we're proving something, but because we've learned to turn things in our favor when it wasn't there in the first place.
And what advice would you give?
You know, when we talk about women in leadership, it's often framed as a struggle. But honestly, it's also a quiet evolution. Women aren't asking for special treatment. They're not waiting for permission. They're not trying to fit into old definitions of leadership either. They're just doing the work, making decisions, building teams, handling complexity at work, at home, and everywhere in between. Yes, the path has extra questions, extra calculations, extra expectations. But what comes out of that is something powerful. Leaders who are resilient, measured, empathetic, and decisive. Not because they had to prove something, but because they had to navigate more. And maybe that's the shift we're seeing now. Leadership isn't about fitting into a template anymore. It's about expanding it. And women aren't trying to take over the room. They're simply changing how the room works.
So, we have a lot of women watching this episode. What would be your most wholesome advice for them?
So ladies, take space, own things, and just do what you want to. Say what you ought to, even when the room goes quiet. That silence usually means what you said mattered.
Well, that felt less like an advice and more like truth.
That's usually how progress sounds.
So that was Bot Lady. Not questioning, not complaining, and not even demanding, just narrating. If parts of this felt familiar, it's because they are. So this is Botsplaining Business, where real conversations happen with artificial beings. If this conversation stayed with you, share it with someone who might need it. Let's start the conversation. Let's change how leadership sounds. We'll see you next time. Until then, like, share, subscribe, keep rising and keep shining. Thank you.